centuries, the debate over music in Islam has echoed through mosques and scholarly circles, condemned by some as a sinful distraction, yet embraced by others as a divine conduit to the soul. Nowhere is this paradox more striking than in the mesmerizing rhythms of Sufi music, where poetry and melody intertwine to create a spiritual experience unlike any other. But as the hypnotic chants of dervishes rise into the night, one question lingers. Is this sacred art a path to the divine or a forbidden indulgence that leads believers astray? Sufism, also known as Tasawwuf, is the mystical dimension of Islam that emphasizes spiritual purification, divine love, and direct personal experience of God. It is not a separate sect, but rather a way of deepening one's faith through devotion, meditation, and ascetic practices. Historically, Sufism has played a significant role in spreading Islam across different regions, particularly through its emphasis on love, tolerance, and inner transformation. Sufis were deeply devoted Muslims who engaged in various spiritual practices, including dhikr, remembrance of God, prayer, and fasting. In addition to these rituals, they embraced sama, an Arabic term meaning listening. Sama was a profound auditory experience, often melodic in nature, incorporating musical instruments from diverse origins. While Sufism encompasses a wide range of traditions, music has been an integral part of its practice since early times. In Sufi gatherings, music was more than just a form of expression. It was accompanied by bodily movements designed to amplify its spiritual effect, helping participants achieve a deeper connection with the divine. Islamic perspectives on music have long been a subject of debate, with some scholars and even Sufi figures strictly opposing it, while others embraced it as a means of spiritual elevation. Many Sufis considered music forbidden, aligning with traditional Islamic jurisprudence, but certain influential figures such as Abu Nasr al-Sarraj, Abu Talib al-Makki, and Abu al-Qasim al-Qushayri acknowledged its role in mystical practices. Over time, various Sufi orders, tariqas, emerged, each with distinct approaches to music. Some, like the Chishti order and Mevlevi order, integrated music deeply into their spiritual rituals, using melodies and rhythmic movements to enhance their connection with the divine. Others, such as the Naqshbandi order, remained more reserved, either limiting or avoiding musical elements in their practices. In Sufi gatherings, practitioners engaged in sama, a spiritual listening practice that encompassed a variety of auditory experiences. They would immerse themselves in Quranic recitations, reflecting on divine wisdom, as well as Sufi poetry, which expressed themes of love, devotion, and mystical longing. Additionally, poetry dedicated to Prophet Muhammad was often recited, celebrating his life and virtues. Love, both divine and human, was another central theme, with verses exploring the deep emotional and spiritual connection between the seeker and the divine. Sufi gatherings often incorporated dance alongside music, as movement was believed to amplify the spiritual experience. Sufis regarded music as a powerful force that could stir emotions, bringing both joy and sorrow, and serve as a gateway to wajd, the state of spiritual ecstasy. At the peak of this trance-like state, some practitioners achieved fana, or self-annihilation, where the self dissolves into divine unity. The emotional intensity was so overwhelming that some individuals would even lose consciousness, overcome by the sheer depths of mystical rapture. In some Sufi traditions, moments of intense spiritual ecstasy have led practitioners to engage in dramatic expressions. Overwhelmed by divine presence, they might shout, tear their clothes, or exhibit powerful bodily movements as they transcend ordinary consciousness. Both men and women have historically participated in leading Sufi music sessions, though the extent of their involvement has varied across different regions and traditions. Sufism has historically been divided into two distinct approaches: sober Sufism and intoxicated Sufism. Sober Sufism, represented by figures like Al-Ghazali and Junayd al-Baghdadi, emphasized self-discipline, adherence to Islamic law, and a controlled approach to spirituality. These Sufis sought a balance between mystical experience and rational understanding, advocating for a structured path to divine closeness without excessive emotional outbursts. On the other hand, intoxicated Sufism, embodied by mystics such as Al-Hallaj and Al-Bastami, embraced ecstatic experiences and spontaneous expressions of divine unity. Practitioners of this approach often uttered ecstatic sayings that could appear shocking or unconventional. Hallaj's famous declaration, Ana al-Haq, I am God, and Bastami's exclamation, Subhani, praise be to me, were seen as expressions of their deep mystical status, sometimes leading to controversy and accusation of heresy. In his influential work Ihya Ulum ad-Din, Revival of the Religious Sciences, Al-Ghazali discusses the role of music in spirituality. While acknowledging its emotional power, he also sets restrictions on musical instruments and tools, ensuring that they don't lead to moral corruption or excessive indulgence. In his Al-Futuhat al-Makkiyah, the Meccan openings, Ibn Arabi presents a more complex view. He generally accepts music within Islamic tradition, but raises concerns about its place in Sufism, suggesting that it can be a distraction from deeper spiritual truths. Conversely, Ibn al-Farid fully embraced music as a tool for mystical experience. His poetry vividly conveys the transformative effect of music, particularly in his celebrated Wine Ode, where he describes his own spiritual ecstasy induced by sound, portraying it as a bridge to divine union. Jalaluddin Rumi, the renowned Persian poet and mystic, established the Mevlevi order, famous for its whirling dervishes, a tradition that continues in Turkey today. His deep passion for music was evident in his life. He played the rabab, a traditional string instrument, and viewed music as a profound spiritual tool. One of his most well-known poems, The Reed Flute, reflects the human soul's yearning for divine reunion. The flute, removed from its natural home, mourns its separation, symbolizing the soul's longing to return to its spiritual source. Rumi's devotion to music and dance became even more pronounced after the mysterious disappearance of his beloved teacher, Shams Tabrizi. Overcome with sorrow, he entered a state of ecstatic spinning, marking the beginnings of the whirling dervish tradition. The whirling dervishes embody a deep mystical philosophy. Their dance represents self-annihilation, fana, unity with the divine, and the cosmic order, mirroring the movements of planets and galaxies in the vast universe. The Chishti order has been one of the most influential Sufi traditions in India and Pakistan, renowned for its teachings centered on love, compassion, and devotion. One of its most significant figures was Nizamuddin Auliya, whose spiritual guidance greatly shaped his disciple Amir Khosrow. Amir Khosrow is often credited with founding Qawwali, a vibrant form of devotional music that integrates Persian, Arabic, Turkish, and Indian musical elements. His artistic innovations helped establish Qawwali as a distinct musical genre within Sufi traditions, which continues to be cherished today, especially in South Asia. In modern times, Nusrat Fateh Ali Khan became one of the most legendary Qawwali singers, introducing this rich musical tradition to audiences worldwide. His deeply expressive performances are still widely heard across India and Pakistan, resonating with listeners through their emotional intensity and spiritual depth. Hazrat Inayat Khan was a distinguished Sufi musician and philosopher who explored the deep connection between sound, vibration, and the cosmos. He believed that the entire universe is formed through vibration, with music serving as a gateway to spiritual enlightenment. As a master of Indian classical music, he merged his musical expertise with Sufi thought, teaching that harmony and rhythm shape human consciousness and divine realization. His influential work, The Mysticism of Sound and Music, delves into the transformative power of sound and its role in spiritual elevation. His philosophy continues to inspire Sufi music and mystical traditions, influencing musicians and seekers worldwide. The debate over Islam, Sufism, and music spans centuries. Some reject it, while others embrace it as a path to spiritual ecstasy. Sufis, from Mevlevis to Chishtis, use music to transcend the self, though figures like Ibn Arabi questioned its necessity at higher mystical levels. Whether controversial or transformative, Sufi music remains a bridge between earthly existence and divine connection. How do you personally view music's role in spirituality? Does it enhance faith or distract from devotion? Can the emotional intensity of music be compared to other forms of religious experience? Do you think contemporary Sufi music still carries the essence of its mystical origins, or has it evolved into something different?